Hi everyone, welcome back to my kitchen. I'm Jacqueline and this is Low Carblish. If you're new here, this is a channel where we make low carb versions of our favorite high carb foods, try to reverse our type 2 diabetes and keep our blood sugars under control. From my regular people, I'm so sorry it's been a minute since I made a video, but your girl has been sick, like in the bed kind of sick all last week. So I'm feeling much better today and we are getting back on plan. And today we're going to be making a Chinese dish with chicken and snow peas with white sauce. And it's all low carb and it's going to be delicious. And we're going to start off by velveting our chicken. And if you don't know what velveting chicken or meat is, I didn't either until recently. And it's taking baking soda and cornstarch and putting it over the raw meat and letting it sit in the refrigerator for 3 to 4 hours. And I was concerned when I first tried this that it might jack my blood sugar up, but because you rinse everything off, it has had zero impact on my blood sugar. So I hope that this will work for you guys too, because so far it's really working well for me. So we're going to start off today by velveting these 2 chicken breasts that I've got, and it's really easy to do. We're going to start off and we're going to cut the chicken breast. I need to grab a fork, y'all. I'll be right back. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to cut your chicken against the grain. And on chicken breast, most of the time the grain is running sort of in a diagonal pattern like this. And so if you just cut like this on the chicken, you should be fine. And I've been making this for... trying to think how many times I've made this now. I think this is the 3rd time I've made this. And it's working beautifully every time. So it's super easy to do. And another thing that's really great about this is that it will spread your food budget. If you're feeding a bunch of people, you can stretch the meat out. But today, the ones that I'm making, it's going to make 2 servings, and it's 1 breast per person. And Jenny's back for today, so she's having some too, so I'm making 2 instead of the usual 1 that I make for me. But this stuff, you guys, I don't know about y'all, but when I first started eating low carb, I missed Chinese food so bad. And so once I figured the sticky rice recipe out, then I was like, well, I kind of like to have Chinese food with sticky rice. So I started trying to figure out different kinds of dishes I could make. And the last video I did was the beef that was also velveted with the sweet and hot sauce. And it turned out really good too. And I'll link the beef recipe and the sticky rice recipe down in the description for you guys. And when I come back, it's going to be about 4 hours from now. And the chicken will be velveted and we'll get it cooked up and ready to go. And in the meantime, Aunt Jenny brought Miss Macy a water toy little pad that throws water up in the air. So while we're waiting on the chicken to velvet, we got to run an errand or 2, and then we're going to come home and put Miss Macy in the water pad and see if she likes it. So we'll make a little video of that for you guys to see too. Alright, so I got 1 cut up here. Put it in our bowl. Get my little paper towel under here so my board doesn't slip around. And these chicken breasts are so big, I'm kind of surprised after I got them out of the package how big they are. But the good thing about chicken breast meat is it's low calorie and of course no carb. And so this is a really good choice if you're having a day where, down here in Georgia we call it when you got the hollow leg. If you're having a day when you're just super hungry and you feel like you've got hollow legs, chicken breast is a good choice because, like I said, it's low calorie and no carb, and it's very filling. So we're going to get the second one done here, and then we're going to get this velveted and put it in the refrigerator. And then when I come back, it'll be a couple seconds for y'all and about 4 hours for me. So let me finish getting this done. I should do one of those things. Have y'all seen those videos where they call them ASMR? And people just, the whole video is just people cutting up food and stuff. It just fascinates me that people are so fascinated by that, you know. I'd never heard of it until I started making YouTube videos, and somebody was telling me about, they watched this channel, it's ASMR, and the lady does food and she shaves soap and all kinds of different things that make different noises, and people are really attracted to that. Some people are, because her channel's pretty big. So, but it's kind of interesting to me. So I'm almost through cutting this up here, and then I'll velvet it and show you how we're going to do that. So, got my pieces done here. Put them in the bowl. And y'all let me put this in the sink real quick because we don't want to have any raw chicken stuff on the countertop. This is in the sink. I'll be right back. Okay, so now you can see I've just got the chicken in a bowl. It's all sliced up and ready to go. And all we're going to do, I've got 1 teaspoon of cornstarch here, and we're going to put that over. And then I'm going to move the chicken around a little bit and get the rest of it on the rest of the chicken. And you don't need more than a teaspoon for 2 chicken breasts. It's plenty. It's not going to hurt anything if you use a little more, but you just really don't need it. And then the baking soda, same thing. 1 teaspoon is plenty. And you just pour this over the meat. And once we get it on the meat, you're just going to stir it all around and make sure that every piece of it is coated with the mixture. And there's some kind of chemical reaction that goes on when you mix the cornstarch with the baking soda, and it starts breaking down the proteins in your meat, and it continues to do that, and that's what causes that really soft, tender mouthfeel. You know, when we go and get Chinese food, it is amazing to me how tender and juicy and just melt in your mouth the chicken and the beef and all the stuff is that they make. Well, this is how they do it. And so we're going to be enjoying that too with some snow peas and some white sauce. So I've got this done, and when you stir it up, you won't be able to see it. And you're going to just cover this with some aluminum foil. I'm going to stick it in the refrigerator for, like I said, about 4 hours. And then when we come back, we'll put this dish together, and you will not believe how quickly it comes together and how ultimately delicious it is. So I'm going to do this. We're going to go outside and play with Macy and run some errands, and we'll be back. Okay, y'all, we're back. It's been about 4 hours. We went out and played with Macy in the yard. I'm going to put the video up, just a separate video of her. She wasn't as excited about the water today as I thought she would be, so this is going to be a slow process. So I'll make a few little short videos so you guys that are interested can keep up with that. But anyway, the chicken is velveted, and we're going to make a sauce for it. And I want to go over what we're going to be using in the sauce, but don't worry about the amounts and everything, because it'll be down in the description as always with the macros for everything. So we've got 2 cups of chicken broth here. I've got 3 tablespoons of heavy whipping cream. We've got a cup of snow peas, and yes, snow peas are low calorie and low carb. I was surprised to find that out myself. And also the sugar snap peas are as well. So if you can't find the snow peas, maybe you can find the sugar snap peas and substitute those for this dish. But I didn't have any problem finding the snow peas at my grocery store, so hopefully you'll have good luck too. I've got a 4-ounce can of mushrooms here. I've got 2 tablespoons of, I'm using avocado oil, but you could use olive oil if you want to, no problem. I've got 2 teaspoons of garlic here that's jarred, and then I've got 1 teaspoon of ginger. And if you prefer onion powder, you can substitute onion powder for ginger. I like the ginger, and I'm also out of onion powder today, so I went with that. So let me get my tongs, and I'll be right back. Alright, y'all, so I got my tongs. I wanted just to show you what your chicken's going to look like after you have velveted it. If you can see in here, you can sort of see, I don't know if you can see it on camera, I hope you can, but you can see where it's softened up the protein fibers that are in the meat, and that's exactly what we're looking for. So all we're going to do is take this, and I'm going to put the chicken pieces in my little strainer here, and I'm going to rinse really good, and then we are going to put it into some boiling water. And like I said, you're not going to believe how fast it's going to come together once we get this chicken rinsed off. And I'm just rinsing really, really well. I'm starting off, if you've got a sprayer on your faucet, that'll help, but if you don't, you can do it like this too. It's no big deal. But I usually start off with a stream like this, just to get the majority of the baking soda and the cornstarch off. And then when I feel it, and you'll be able to feel it when you are rinsing it off, you'll be able to feel it when it starts coming off of there and you're just left with the chicken. And I can tell just by the way it feels that it's coming off, but also I can tell just by the way it feels that the chicken's velveted nicely. And then I usually just put my sprayer on and do it a minute or two longer, just because I want to make sure I get all of that cornstarch and all that baking soda off of there, because the baking soda can leave a funky taste if you don't rinse it off. Some people say they don't rinse it off. I tried not rinsing it off when I was doing the beef, and I could totally taste it, so it's just my preference not to do that. Alright, so we're rinsed off really good here, and I'm going to drain this off really good here. Get as much of the water off of it as I can. And then I'm going to take a little paper towel and put under my strainer here, and we're going to go over here to the oven and stovetop and put this in water that I've got boiling. And I've brought my water up to boiling, and I turned the heat back down on it. So if you can see, I've got little bubbles on the bottom. We're starting to boil up again. And all we're going to do is put this chicken in this water. We're not doing any seasoning yet. And we're going to let this boil up. And what's going to happen is it's going to boil up probably twice. And it'll foam up. And let me put this over here. It'll foam up. And I'm going to pull that foam off. And when that foam is the cornstarch and the baking soda cooking up off of this. And I actually have just a little bit too much water in here. I'm going to pour just a little bit of this off because this boils up on you. So let me go pour this off at the sink. And if Jenny wants to follow me, she can. And if she don't, I'll be back in a minute. But I'm just going to pour a little bit of this water off. So you can see how much water I've got down in the pan. And that's kind of what you're looking for, because you want to give yourself enough room, because like I say, it is going to boil up on you. Okay. Now I got the heat going up a little bit, and so we're just waiting for this to start bubbling and start foaming up, and it's not going to take long. So we're going to cut the camera off for just a minute, and when it starts boiling up like that, we'll come back and I'll let you see that. Okay, y'all, so we're starting to boil and starting to get some of that foam. So this is what you're looking for, and we're just going to let it keep doing that for a minute, and before you know it, it's going to get really heavy doing that. And when it starts doing that, I'm probably going to take it off the heat, and I may start taking a little bit of this foam off now. And I really believe that the reason that this doesn't affect my blood sugar is because all of the cornstarch and the baking soda cook out of it. And so there's nothing left of that in this dish. So I really truly do believe that that's got something to do with it. And so I've skimmed a little bit of it off, and I'm going to let it boil up and boil up some, because I want to make sure that the chicken is done. We're going to cook the chicken a little bit more when we make the sauce, but not a lot, so I want to make sure that the chicken's actually done before we start making the sauce. And now y'all can see it starting to bubble and boil and bubble and boil. And I'm getting ready to pull it off the heat here in just a minute. Yep, that's what we're looking for. And it's going to do this like twice. And then it should be ready. So you can see how it's starting to bubble up on me now. So I'm going to take it off the heat and skim some more of that foam off of there. And I'm using a little, I don't even know what this tool is called, this little hand strainer, and it works great. You could use like a pasta thing, whatever you've got that you could skim. A soup ladle would work, whatever you've got that you can skim the foam off with. And we're just going to let it do that same thing again and take it off the heat one more time, and then we're going to start making our sauce. And y'all, this is so close to actual Chinese food, you're not gonna believe it. I was so happy, like the very first time I made it and it worked, I was like, oh my gosh, I love this. Because I have not had Chinese food in like 3 years. So when I realized that we could put Chinese back on the menu, I was a happy little camper, let me tell you. So I hope y'all like it too, because honestly, it is divine to me. And I've got some of the sticky rice made up and ready to go that Jenny and I are going to have with our chicken and snow peas today. And it's foaming up on me again just beautifully. And that's exactly what we're looking for. And you see how I'm telling you, if you don't watch it, you could end up with a mess. So I don't leave it when it's in this stage. And then I just come in and skim the rest of that foam off of there. And I'm going to leave the chicken off the heat, but soaking in this boiling water while I'm making the sauce. And so when it's time, we're just going to spoon it out with my strainer here and put it in the sauce. And it's going to be great. So let me put this up and get my pan and all my goodies over here for the sauce, and then we'll be making sauce. And within about 5 or 10 minutes, we're going to be eating Chinese food. Alright guys, so I'm back at the stove here. I've got my pan set on medium heat, and I've got 2 tablespoons of oil here. And like I said, you can use avocado, you could use peanut oil, olive oil, whatever works for you. And I'm going to roll this around on the pan a little bit. And what I do first is I put my mushrooms in. That oil was a little hotter than I thought it was, y'all. Alright. Let's simmer down here. Wow. Sorry about that, guys. I didn't realize my oil was that hot. Preheated my pan too much. Okay. So I got the mushrooms in, and then we've got the 1 cup of the snow peas, and I put them in here as well. And I'm just going to saute them for a few minutes and get the mushrooms a little scorched, not bad, but a little bit, and get the snow peas kind of softened up a little bit. I don't like my snow peas to be like super soft, but I do like them, you know, I like a little crunch, but I want them softened up enough. So I put that in, and then I put the garlic in. And like I said, that's 2 teaspoons of jarred garlic. You could also use garlic powder if you don't have the jarred garlic. You can also leave the garlic out if you don't like it. I love it, so I use it. You see how pretty the snow peas are getting that beautiful green color. Alright. Okay, and then I'm going to put in my 2 cups of chicken broth and stir that up really well. And then I've got 3 tablespoons of heavy whipping cream, and I'm adding the heavy whipping cream because I like the sauce to be rich, but you don't want to add too much because we're not going for like a white gravy type sauce, you know. We want to have a little flavor and a little color to it, but you don't want it to come out looking like gravy. So that's why I only use the 3 tablespoons. And honestly, 3 tablespoons, you don't need any more than that. And then I add my ginger or my onion powder, whichever you're using. And we're going to let that heat up a little bit, and then we're going to put some glucomannan in here and thicken the sauce up, and then add the chicken, and we're going to be eating Chinese food, y'all. Did I mention this is so delicious? It's good. It's really good. Okay, so I'm going to let this cook for just a few minutes, and when I come back, we'll put the glucomannan in it, and we'll be ready. Alright guys, so we're back. This has been boiling, simmering for about 4 minutes now, and I'm going to go in and I'm going to add a half a teaspoon. I'm make sure I got my half teaspoon. I'm going to go in and add half a teaspoon of glucomannan powder. If y'all have been watching me for any amount of time, you know that I use a good amount of glucomannan in my cooking, and I do that because it is a great thickener, and it doesn't leave the same sort of slimy aftertaste that the other stuff. I'm trying to think of the name of that stuff. It'll come to me. Anyway, it's a really good thickener, but it doesn't leave a slimy texture on your sauces or whatever. And so I'm gonna turn this heat down just a little bit and cook this until it starts thickening up for me. And then we're gonna put our chicken in and we're gonna serve it up and give you a taste test. Because it is so good, y'all. I'm excited about my dinner today. I gotta tell you that. I'm excited about my dinner. And when you put your glucomannan in, just stir it kind of regularly for a few minutes because you want to make sure that it all gets incorporated and thickens up nicely and all of that stuff. So I just stir it constantly for a couple minutes just to make sure that everything gets blended in correctly. And there's not any lumpies. Okay, so right there is what you're looking for. And then I'm going to lower the heat down to medium-low and probably let it go for about, I don't know, 3 or 4 more minutes until it starts thickening up to the thickness I like. And I will tell you that as you cook this down, the longer you cook it, the thicker it's going to be. So if you, after a few minutes, you're trying it and you're like, that's not really working for me, I want it thicker, just keep cooking it. You can also add a little extra glucomannan to it if you want to, but cooking it down will work too. So whatever you want to do. You will, if you use a lot of the glucomannan, you can get the same slimy result that you get with the xanthan gum, but it takes a lot more to do that, and I find that it thickens up really nicely with a very small amount. So like I said, let me let this simmer for a few minutes, and then we'll be back and we'll finish it up. Okay, y'all, so we've let this cook for a few minutes, and you can sort of see the thickness of the sauce. And this is how I like mine. I don't want mine to be too thick because I like some of it to soak into the rice. So if you want yours thicker than that, just cook it a little longer and it'll thicken up for you. But now we are getting ready to put the chicken in here and finish up our dish. And I've got a little bowl of sticky rice here that I'm going to put my portion over. And if you guys want sticky rice recipe, I'll put it in the description for you, because it's like the perfect thing with this dish, you know. So I am so happy that this turned out and it's working. I've got a couple of more Chinese dishes that I'm working on. It's probably going to be 3 or 4 videos from now because I'm still in the planning phase of everything, but they will be out eventually. Okay, so I'll just drain the chicken out of the water, and now we're just going to stir it into the sauce here. And you guys, look how beautiful that is, and look how it looks like our favorite Chinese foods. And we're going to plate it up here in just a minute and do a taste test so you can see just how tender and delicious this chicken really is like this. Alright, so we've got that in here, and I'm going to plate up just a little bit of it over my rice. Get some snow peas and some chicken, some of those good mushrooms in here. And like I said, guys, this is showing out at 2 servings. But honestly, if you were serving this to your family and you wanted to do another side vegetable or something, you could stretch this out to 3 or 4 servings depending on whether or not you're feeding smaller people or big teenage boys and a husband. And so that's it. And it's done. And it's delicious, and we're getting ready to try it. Alright, y'all, so we're back and we're done here, and we are going to do a taste test. I've got this over my sticky rice, so I'm going to get a little bite of chicken with my sticky rice. And this chicken is tender, it cuts really easily. And get the snow pea on here, because we got to have a full bite, y'all. Y'all, it's good. Let me get a drink. All right. So if you're looking for a really good Chinese dish to, you know, hits that spot for you, the Chinese spot, excuse me, this may just be the dish for you. It is tender, the sauce tastes authentic, and it's on top of the sticky rice, so it gives you that same feeling of being able to have your favorite Chinese food with rice. So I hope you like it, guys, and I appreciate it if you try it, if you let me know. And I appreciate you coming and hanging out with me today and cooking. And I would appreciate if you would hit that like button, because it really does help people that have just been diagnosed to find my channel. If you are not subscribed, I would love it if you would think about subscribing. And for those of you that are subscribed, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I appreciate your love and support. And I love you guys, and I will see you soon. Have a great day. Bye.